Hey everyone! Welcome to another day's episode and another deadly made-for-TV drama. Today I will be discussing the 1987 TV movie Deadly Deception, starring Matt Salinger, Lisa Eilbacher, and Bonnie Bartlett. I will recap the storyline and discuss movies that have a similar plot line or the same actors. But before I get into all of that, here is a little bit more about me. I am an admin on the fan pages Lifetime Movie Club and Lifetime Movie Channel on Facebook. These are not official pages. They are fan pages where you can discuss your favorite movies with others who enjoy Lifetime productions as well as classic TV movies as much as you do. I have recently released a book called Deadly Guide, The Search for the Killer Made-for-TV Thriller, which is a great resource for you if you especially enjoy those TV movies from the early 90s. If you like this episode and want to continue hearing more from me, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I release one episode a week and sometimes additional content for you. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in my comment section. Thank you for stopping by. Now, getting back to Deadly Deception. This was one of those movies that I tried to find the title of for years, and my internet searches were no help at all. I even went so far as to scroll through about 50 pages of TV movies and specials in hopes of finding one that looked familiar. No luck. After the fact, I remembered seeing the cover of this movie on the list but scrolling right past it, not even giving it a second thought. In the end, it was Janet Williams on one of the Lifetime Facebook fan pages who helped me out. She remembered the movie starred an actress named Lisa Eilbacher. You can be sure I will never forget that actress's name now. Nor will I ever forget the fact that Janet was the one who helped me find my mystery movie from the past. Thank you, Janet. I should note that even before she told me the name of the movie, I had a feeling the title had the word deadly in it somewhere. That it was practically a matter of flipping a coin. Heads, it's deadly. Tails, it's fatal. And what do you know? I was absolutely right. Anyway, on to my review. The movie opens with a dream. The main character dreams of a sound reminiscent of wind chimes and the sensation of drowning. We'll find out later it's not actually wind chimes, but I don't want to spoil the ending for you. The main character awakens in his bed, and we are introduced to him and his wife, Lori. The wife is a new mother and seems to be a bit on edge. She's possibly going through postpartum depression. She actually reminds me a little of Brenda in the 1987 movie Adventures in Babysitting, played by Penelope Ann Miller. She doesn't look at all like her, but she seems just as high-strung and has this soft voice that sounds more like a laugh when she's in one of her happy moods. The movie takes a dark turn one day, early on in the movie, when the wife, Laurie Schote, is left home alone with little Billy and gets a call from a strange man. He tells her that she has won a shopping spree for baby goods at a well-known department store called Hanson's. At first she is hesitant. If she was less concerned about being civil, she maybe would have slammed the phone down then and there. Instead, she lets the man talk her into accepting the invitation to meet him at a hotel in another town. She has plans with her in-laws that night for dinner, so she calls to let them know her plans have changed and won't be able to make their dinner that night. At the hotel, she is greeted by 3 people at the door of her suite. One of them is the man from the phone call. He tries to talk her into leaving her baby in the care of a woman claiming to be a registered nurse, while the mother shops at Hanson's. There is also a chauffeur present. But Laurie insists, in an uncharacteristically forceful tone, that she will not be handing over her baby to anyone, and that where she goes, little Billy goes as well. The man agrees to revise the plans, and Laurie is embarrassingly grateful for this accommodation. One will later wonder if the original plans included murder as well, or if that only happened because she stood up for herself and her baby. That's an awful thought. I'd rather not think about that. But it's awful no matter how you look at it. A little later, her husband Jack gets the dreaded call from the police. He asks them if there's been an accident, and they agree. If by accident he means that his wife has been found hanging from the ceiling of a hotel bedroom, the victim of an apparent suicide. The camera pans away from the lieutenant on the phone, and we see the dangling body. Or, more accurately, a skirt with some legs hanging out from underneath it, and it's an eerie image that remained etched in my mind for years. It's a little unclear how the cops found her so quickly. It was only a few hours after her arriving at the hotel, and I don't know why anyone would have been checking in on her so soon. But it's a movie, and I guess we need to let some things go. The viewer learns that, while the wife-mother is dead, the baby is missing. The rest of the movie is the father trying to find his child with the aid of a female journalist, played by Lisa Eilbacher. Eilbacher suspects that the suicide might actually have been a murder, and that the mother didn't really kill her baby, like the police believe she did. The baby could still be out there. And could the father's ominous dreams be memories that are somehow linked to his current situation? Bonnie Bartlett plays the husband's mother, and she's been in quite a few TV movies. For instance, she played Ted Bundy's mother in The Deliberate Stranger in 1986. And she played the mother of a woman who dies in a staged horse accident and Victim of Love, the Shannon Moore story, which was inspired by a true case that was also a segment on the classic television program Unsolved Mysteries, hosted by legendary Robert Stack. I did not recognize the lead actor Matt Salinger. He played the victim's husband, Jack, and in this movie he looks a little like a young Simon Le Bon from Duran Duran circa 1983. He also looks a little like Matthew Perry. Not to say that I was ever a fan of Friends. I just need to make that clear. In 1995, I was more into family sitcoms such as Full House. My peers were the ones who watched the more adult comedies, but I couldn't get into them. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. May Matthew Perry rest in peace. Even though I wasn't a fan, it is sad that he died so young and tragically. Laurie Choate, the victim, was played by Meg Gibson, and I also did not recognize her at all, though I vaguely remembered her as having chin or shoulder-length dark hair. I remembered being riveted by the actress, and maybe it was because there was a sort of childish innocence about her that was completely captivating, in a train wreck sort of way, because you can see the crash coming ahead of time. She's just so naive and hopeful about a future that will never be hers. Laurie looked like the kind of person who couldn't harm a flea. She would stand up for those she cared about, such as her baby. But she was also a bit of a trusting soul, which tragically led to her demise. There are just too many sick people out there preying on the innocence of the world. I'm looking at Meg Gibson's movies and don't really recognize any, except for People Like Us, which starred Ben Gazzara and was about a man who seeks revenge on his daughter's murderer. The movie was written by Dominic Dunn, who experienced the same kind of tragedy that the lead character did when his daughter, actress Dominique Dunn, was murdered by her boyfriend shortly after she played the older daughter in the 80s movie Poltergeist. But I didn't see People Like Us until years after I saw Deadly Deception for the first time on TV, and even then I only saw bits and pieces of it and probably would not have recognized Meg Gibson's character in that. The guy who played the killer looks so familiar. His name is Robert Harper. He looked a little like Michael O'Keefe, who has been the villain in tons of TV movies, such as The People Next Door, starring Nicolette Sheridan, and In the Best Interest of the Child, starring Meg Tilly. And Lisa Eilbacher, who played a journalist determined to find out what really happened to Laurie and her baby, has also been in her fair share of TV movies, such as Blind Man's Bluff with Robert Urich, Joshua's Heart with Melissa Gilbert, and Deadly Matrimony with Brian Dennehy, another movie with Deadly in the title. I'd just never heard of her before Janet Williams on Facebook mentioned her name in connection with this movie Deadly Deception that I'd been looking for. Now I will never forget her name. To be honest, I had completely forgotten her plot line in this movie before I rewatched it in my 40s, about 20 or so years after I'd first caught it on television. I hadn't even realized I had seen the whole movie before. I only remembered the first part, up until the mother was found hanging in the hotel room. It was such a memorable way for someone to die. Really bizarre method, too. The only other alleged suicide like that I've ever heard of, where someone was found hanging in a hotel room, was the death of the lead singer of INXS, Michael Hutchence. He died 10 years after the release of this 1987 movie, in 1997. There are lots of movies that involve the kidnapping of a baby. A few movies where a mother is murdered in order to steal her child include Ultimate Deception, starring Yasmin Bleeth and Richard Grieco, Empty Cradle, starring Lori Loughlin and Kate Jackson, and Stolen Baby, the Heidi Broussard story, starring Emily Osment. All three of those were based on true stories. In Ultimate Deception, a man kills his best friend's daughter-in-law so that he can raise her child with his wife. In Empty Cradle, the main character's baby is kidnapped from the hospital while she's in labor, and the mother survives, but the abductor later goes on to kill someone else so that she can steal their baby as well. And Stolen Baby is about a woman who fakes a pregnancy and murders her best friend so that she can pretend that her friend's daughter is her own. There was also Baby Snatcher, starring Nancy McKeon, Veronica Hamill, and David Duchovny. Luckily, no one was murdered in that one. But a woman fakes a pregnancy and then steals a baby while interviewing for a babysitting position. This movie also kind of reminds me of 3 true crime cases where a young girl was lured out of her house by a call from a strange man. The first case was the murder of Kelly Cook. That was such a terrifying case where a girl agreed to babysit for a family she didn't know when the father of the family called her up and told her his name was Bill Christensen. Christensen was a common name in the Canadian town where she lived, and she just assumed he was legit. He turned out to be a fictional person and the ultimate boogeyman. They never caught her killer. Then there was the case of Amy Mihalovic, who met up with a man who claimed by phone to work with her mother and who said he needed her help picking out a gift for her mom. And finally, there was the case of Alison Perrott, also from Canada, just like Kelly Cook. She was killed by a man pretending to be a photographer for her sports team. A good lesson for us all. These 3 murders all took place in the 80s when people were a little more innocent. There was stranger danger, but it was definitely a more innocent time than today. Overall, I would give Deadly Deception a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't believe it's a true story, as I have not found anything online to suggest that it is, and the hokey premise makes me think it's fiction. However, the hotel crime scene was chilling, along with a poor mother being led eagerly like a lamb to the slaughter, completely unaware of what was to become of her. The movie can be watched on YouTube, and just a note, it's only an hour and a half. There is one version I found online, I think it's the only version I found on YouTube, that says it's 2 hours or so. It's not over 2 hours, it's only about an hour and a half, so it looks like it might have been uploaded twice in one video. I don't see Deadly Deception on any of the big streaming platforms such as Amazon and Tubi. I do recommend the movie, if for no other reason than because it might be one that has haunted your dreams for years as well. And it just has that 80s TV movie quality to it that us fans know so well and love so much. Well, that's all for today, everyone. I hope this review was helpful. If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe to my channel and check out my book, Deadly Guide, on Barnes & Noble. And remember, when it comes to strangers calling you up on the telephone, telling you that you've won a big prize, it's not rude to tell them that you don't speak English and hang up the phone immediately. Maybe learn how to say, "I don't speak English," in a few foreign languages so that you can be prepared ahead of time. Take care.